Alrighty. Hello and welcome everybody to ORL Tier 2 round number 14 here for the Chinese Grand Prix. Not joined by J-Man in the comms box today, but it's all good. It's looking to be quite a competitive grid. Still a lot of the top guys up and down the grid still here, but we only have 12 today. I assume because people don't like the track, but you know, it's fine. So Spicy is the first one out on the track. And yeah, China, obviously, not a lot of people have driven it. We had it for Tier 1 last week and it went pretty well, with after penalties, Avid's taking home the win. But I don't know how it'll go today, with a lot of our Tier 2 drivers probably not even ever touching this track, as a lot of them only started playing the games recently, and it hasn't been on the real life calendar for a very long time. So Spicy letting Frosty go there, so he'll probably be our first one on a flying lap. But yeah, I'm actually not too sure how the racing will be. There's no barriers around here, so it's quite hard to DNF without retirees in the pit lane. So that should reduce the risk of safety cars. And obviously people like Frosty, for example, even though it's a higher downforce circuit, there's one massive straight, and Frosty and a few other drivers will probably be running terrorist wings just to try get some overtakes done in the race, because this straight is ridiculously long, like 1 or 2 kilometers from what I remember. Sadly, nobody was able to do the standings in between now and the last round. I wasn't able to because I actually don't. Oh, Frosty comes into the pit lane and just doesn't do a lap. Alright then. Oh, as Frosty retires from the session, he might have a quali ban. And Spicy ruined his lap. What is he doing? Okay, so who will be the first proper person across the line? I think Spark will be the first proper person to actually begin a lap. So we'll go on board with the Alfa Romeo to get the telemetry on and get ready to watch a flying lap here done by Sparks. Up the gears, 7th gear. He hasn't got his battery on for some reason, which is really strange. But getting down the gears, down to 3rd, make it back across to the really late apex, and then cut back across down the hill, back across to the left. Nice and easy on the power, easy as you like, and then full throttle all the way down to, what is this, turn 4. And now 3rd gear, get the car tipped in. It's deceivingly tight, that corner, but you can also carry a deceiving amount of speed through that corner, and now flat out through this left quite comfortably in these modern day Formula 1 cars. And now just a dab of the brakes back across to the right hand side. 4th gear or 3rd gear depending on the driver to get back across to the left, easy on the power, back across now. And this is where Sparks is really going to hurt himself without using the battery. And down this straight, he will probably not top out very well, but he does have the helping hand of the DRS, so it'll be interesting to see what his banker lap time will be in this qualifying session with the DRS open now. He's struggling to get up into 8th gear. There we go. He's going to hit 315 k's an hour on the brakes at the start of the left-hand side curve. Get the car pulled up. 3rd gear, back on the power. Now through the final corner, Sparks goes down to 4th gear. Get the car tipped in. Make sure to get the rotation. Don't beach the car on the right-hand side. 1 minute 33.4 with no battery. And that means he's going again, but we'll move to more drivers now, as Hudman has gone off the track at the hairpin. Didn't invalidate him, but he would have lost a lot of lap time. As Broadstar 32.6, so the times are ramping up already. It's Hudman to the line, 1 minute 33.4, and he lost a lot of time through the hairpin, so maybe there's even more time in it for him. Phoenix invalidated his lap, so he'll be going again. Frosty, though, no, he has his battery off. Kizzy through Sector 2 will go off board with the Papaya McLaren. And he is pushing quite hard as he's entering the final sector now. 52.1 is the split coming out of the middle sector into Sector 3 is getting up the gears to enter probably the longest straight on the Formula 1 game, except for potentially Vegas. I believe Vegas is a little bit longer. And 8th gear, and he's going to top out. He actually won't quite top out his revs, but down the gears, rocket ship down them for the hairpin, get the car nice and rotated. He had a bit of a wobble there on the curb, overshot the corner a little bit, but now rounding into the final corner, just flick the car in, down the gears, 4th gear, and then to the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 33.4, putting him behind Sparks, and Sparks didn't even use battery. Sparks is now 4/10 up on his best as he comes into the final corner. He'll have more time to the line. What's it going to be for him? A 32.2, beating Broadstar, who was a P1 by 4/10 of a second. So Sparks will be happy with the provisional pole for the moment. Hudman invalidated his second run through. Go to Phoenix then, who's also about to round into the final corner. Down to 4th gear, no, he uses 5th gear, and to the line it's going to be a 1 minute 32.6, just beating Broadstar, so P2 for him. Kizzy, get the telemetry up, so just saving the battery on this lap. He'll be coming into the pit lane. Zonix also will probably be coming into the pit lane. Firestrike is coming into the pit lane. Scott Gaming, though, will be finishing his final flying lap here. So, rounding the final corner, what will his first lap of this qualifying session be? I think it's a 32.6, puts him P3, so that is impressive for the Williams driver. He'll be quite content with that, as Kizzy obviously down on his time. As Zonix begins another flying lap, so we'll go on board with the, actually we'll go off board with the Red Bull driver through the long stretchy turn 1, probably my least favourite corner on every Formula 1 track in existence. Just feels like it goes forever. And then down the hill, flick it back to the left. The car should stick with you if you have a good setup. And now flat out through the right on the brakes just after the 100-meter board. And then get it tipped towards the apex. Don't hit that inside curb where you'll unsettle the car a lot. And now getting it back across, flat out through the left. Just heaps and heaps of grip today in these cars. And you've just got to trust that the downforce will glue you to the road. And Zonix does trust that. And he's had a very nice Sector 1. And I must say, quite a comfortable Sector 2, as he'll do a 51.6 Sector 2 split. So now he's just got to negotiate the final straight and then the hairpin, which can be a way to throw away your lap, but we'll have to see. Where will Frosty top out speed-wise? Coming into the DRS, he's already at 307 k's an hour as he opens the DRS up. He's going to hit 330, I'll say 332 probably, as he gets on the brakes into the hairpin, doesn't lock up. Pulls in for a nice early apex, even though it's probably faster to do a late apex, and he launches out of the corner. Now just flick the car in for the final corner. What's it going to be? To the line. Going to be a 1 minute 32.1. So he beats Sparks by a 1/10 of a second and no more, as Scott Gaming comes into the pit lane and everybody is now out for their second runs in qualifying with 9 minutes to go. There's still a little while to go, and they've still got middle runs and final runs to negotiate. Broadstar will be the first one to begin another flying lap, and it'll be interesting to see if he can take back his provisional pole. 32.6 was already a decent time, but that's been beaten since, so he'll have to strike back with a better lap now. So right now, Zonix and Sparks seem to be the two fastest guys, the old teammates, the former teammates. Obviously, just battling it out, and it'll be interesting to see if that stays the same come race time and towards the end of this qualifying session. But at least from the first runs, Sparks and Zonix seem to be the people to beat. As Broadstar now begins his flying lap, and I will leave you guys for a just pure sound lap with no commentary. Never mind, he's gone off onto the gravel and he's thrown away his his second run in qualifying. So we'll now do this. No, we won't do the same for Hudman, who seems to have also bailed out. Who's about to begin a lap? Manson Sim. We'll do what I was gonna do for Broadstar now. No commentary, just pure hot lap. Here we go, he rounds the final corner. Where is he going to place the car? He goes P5 with a 32.6. So, not bad for him as Sparks is going through Sector 2, so we'll join him on later on his lap. Spicy, I think, is down on his time. Kizzy, actually, he's just a bit behind Sparks, so we'll go... No, Phoenix is even behind that, so Sparks! We will actually end up looking at Sparks now, as he's coming into the final sector of this lap around China. He's only 100th up, so hopefully there's more time for him to find either at the end of this lap that he's on, or at the final run in qualifying at the death of it. So we'll see. Zonix is a 10th ahead of him, so he's going to have to find a 10th somehow in this qualifying session, as he gets down the gears through the hairpin quite cleanly, as he's now going to just tip the car into the final corner. And will he set provisional pole? Will he beat out Zonix? No, he actually doesn't improve on his lap time, so he's going to have one final swing at it in the final run in qualifying. Kizzy, though, beats him. 31.8 provisional pole. Phoenix, 31.9, so they are now 1-2, and they've taken the reign from Sparks and Zonix in these middle runs, but Zonix is about to begin his second flying lap in this qualifying session. But for now, we'll move to Spicy, who's in Sector 3, and is looking to punch back and take a leap up the field. He tops out at 333 k's an hour as he gets on the brakes into the hairpin, late apex, launch the car out of the corner. He gets on the curb, though that would have unsettled him a little bit. It's not looking like it's going to be the fastest lap time on the planet, but he might improve still. He rounds the final corner. It's going to be a 1 minute 32.5, so it does move him up into the top 5. As Zonix comes in and just decides not to do his final run. He realized he cut it too late to do a middle run, and now he just has to wait for the final run. Phoenix and Kizzy obviously aren't going again. PS Bomber and Scott Gaming are out on the track though, and PS Bomber is about to start a lap in this qualifying session. We'll turn off the telemetry and go off board as he does a lap around Shanghai in the Papaya McLaren. Will he be able to get near his teammate, who's all the way up in P1? The gap from him to his teammate is just a little bit under 3 seconds. It's about 2 seconds. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Down the hill, the car obviously has a bit of false rotation. Just from the dip, there's a little bit of a bump and it kind of rotates the car, as he's already found 2 tenths in the first sector. So it's already looking good for him to at least move up a position, but he's still got 8 tenths to find if he wants to move up a position, which would be 6 more tenths than he currently has. So we'll have to see how he goes. He's looking quite comfortable and on the limit there, leaving not heaps of margin for where his limit is. And not using all of the track there, but using a reasonable amount of it as entering into Sector 3, 6/10 up, so he clearly has a little bit more time in this. If he can move up into the top 8, I'm sure he'll be happy as he enters the straight. Just be easy on the power as now entering the behemoth of a straight. You get a second to relax, obviously, if you're on wheel. Don't let go of your wheel because it will ruin you, but if he is on controller, which I'm actually not sure, gives you a second to completely relax as he enters the hairpin, gets a good exit out of it. It's looked like a pretty comfortable lap. Will he be able to beat Broadstar? Will he get into that 32 range? Depends on how much he improves in this final sector. He's going to do a 1 minute 32.0, and he goes P3 as Zonic's still in the pit lane, but he's about to come out. Spark's still in the pit lane. There's only 2 minutes left in qualifying. A lap around here is a minute and a half. So they're cutting this super close to the absolute last second. I'm not sure that's the right thing to do, because, as Spicy's in the wall, he's found himself doing a Lewis Hamilton in 2007 that cost him the title. Obviously, it won't be costing Spicy any sort of championships, or I'd be pinching myself. But Hudman is about to start his final lap in this qualifying session. We'll just leave the lap time marker on and go on board with the telemetry, and I'll leave you guys to watch his final run in qualifying, and I'll just bring up the slip when that happens. I would not normally do this in final runs, but I need to quickly do something. Hudman is a 10th and a bit up, nearly 2/10 up through the first sector, so he's running quite comfortably at the moment. There's Hudman now through sector 2, just pushing the limit. He misses the apex a little bit there, but he'll try and make up for that with a better exit, and we'll see what the split is through sector 2. He's 5/10 up, nearly 6/10 up in this session. So what he'll be able to do, hopefully, is move himself at least up into that top 5 area. We'll have to see. He'll have a little bit more time to find. I don't think there's a lot of... As Broadstar goes P1 provisionally with a 31.7 in his final run in qualifying now. So, will Hudman be able to make any strides up the field? He's only done 33.4 for the moment. So if he can round out this lap nice and comfortably, he'll find himself in a lot better position than he is right now. Rounding the final corner, flick the card in, and on the exit, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty solid lap. It's going to be a 1 minute 32.1, goes P5 for the moment. We'll move back. Where's Sparks? Sparks is in sector 1, so we'll go to Phoenix. No, we'll go to Kizzy, who's the closest to finishing his lap. If he improves, even at the rate he is right now, he'll be back on to provisional pole. He's 700ths up on his best. That'll literally just get him ahead of Broadstar. So unless he has a little bit more to find, this is going to be very, very close. And I have a feeling Phoenix and Sparks have a bit more time in their laps. Obviously, Sparks is down in P8 right now, but this qualifying is really close. So if Sparks can get this final run hooked up here, still a threat. Zonix is already out of this qualifying session. He crossed the line a little bit too late, misjudged it a little bit. Kizzy, though, down to 3rd gear, hits a late apex now, gets a good run out of the hairpin. Will he be able to stick this onto provisional pole and potentially the pole of the Grand Prix? 5th gear, rounds the final corner to the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 33.5. He finds 2/10 in the final sector. He does a 1 minute 31.5. So that puts him on provisional pole for the moment. But will Phoenix or somebody else be able to bring him off that top step in qualifying? Phoenix through the hairpin now. Rounding has a bit of traffic though. He won't get impeded by it as we go on board through the final corner. Get down the gears, back on the power. Will he be able to beat Kizzy? He doesn't. He goes P3. Sparks goes P2 with a 31.6. So your pole sitter today in Division 2 is Kizzy with a 1 minute 31.5. That is a super close qualifying session with Sparks only less than a 10th behind and Phoenix only 2/10 behind Kizzy. So that is your top 3, and I'll run you through the rest of the grid in a minute. But Kizzy take a bow with a very impressive final lap there. And that is him on provisional pole. Pole for the moment. Obviously, starting pole in China might not be the best thing because of the long straight on lap 1, but he'll have plenty of time to keep swapping positions if he doesn't hold it. So your grid is Kizzy with a pole position 31.575. Then you have Sparks just behind him, 400th behind pole position. Then you have Phoenix a 10th and a half behind. Then you have Broadstar, Bomber, Hudman, Scott Gaming, Zonix, Spicy, Manson, Firestrike, and Frosty rounding the grid. So that is your qualifying order, and we'll move into the main Grand Prix in a minute's time. My bet to win is probably Kizzy or just one of the two guys in the top 3, so Kizzy, Sparks, or Phoenix. But obviously Hudman didn't have a great qualifying, and we've seen in the past he makes a run back through in the race. So we'll have to see how it goes, and I'll see you again at the lights in just a moment's time. As we come to 5 red lights here for the Tier 2 Chinese Grand Prix, as we're going to get underway here in China. It's a lights out and away we go. Kizzy gets off to a good start. Sparks gets up into P1 though. Well, he's going to at least be alongside Kizzy as they head into turn 1. That's Spicy on the gravel. On the outside there, Sparks moves up into P1 further down. Bomber trying to make a move up into P2, gets past Phoenix. Will he be able to get up into that top 2 region? He's side by side with Kizzy. Kizzy shoves him a little bit wide. Kizzy holds P2 for the moment. Further down though, Hudman and Broadstar fighting away. They're 3 wide as they enter into the second corner. Hudman's now going to try go right around the outside of Broadstar. He finds himself on the grass. He overshoots. Hudman makes a mistake. We don't normally see him making mistakes, but he makes one here on lap 1. And he finds himself down the grid in P7 as we come back onto the circuit. Hudman trying to find his way up the inside of Phoenix for the top 6 positions once more. They're side by side as they enter through Sector 2. Through the right-hander, Hudman has the inside. Phoenix might have to let the position go. And he does, but Phoenix now holds the outside. There's yellow flags in Sector 2. It's someone spun at the back. It's Manson. And Phoenix gets shoved off the track by Hudman and loses another position. Scott Gaming now under pressure from Phoenix, but Scott Gaming also putting some pressure onto Hudman. Meanwhile, your top 3 is now Sparks, Kizzy, and Bomber, so the McLaren's having a brilliant result, at least on lap 1, but there's still 28 laps to go in this Grand Prix. And what a start that was. But moving further down the grid, Zonix might be putting some pressure on to Broadstar here. Will he go down the inside at the hairpin? Will he pull an Avids type dive bomb off? No, he won't. As Hudman trying to get involved is up the back here. Frosty moves up into P8 after serving a qualifying ban and is already up 4 positions from the opening lap as Firestrike seemingly struggling at the back there. But the leaders are about to start fighting, but also Zonix is going to try to go right around the outside of Broadstar here as they enter turn 1. He's trying to sail right around the outside. This will become the inside for Broadstar as they head down the hill though. They're going to dip down the hill. Hudman thinks about getting involved. Zonix still on the inside though, keeps his nose in. He's going to get a good exit and he moves up into P4 with a phenomenal move. And that might allow Hudman now to get involved. Hopefully he doesn't make the same mistake he did on lap 1. Zonix moves late, tries to cover off Broadstar. He goes over the curb and Broadstar has to back out. And now Scott Gaming's trying to run around the outside of Hudman as they're on lap 2 of this Grand Prix and it's still all kicking off. Scott Gaming can't find himself right around the outside, has to back out of it, runs out of grip, but he's now on the outside of Hudman. Hudman placing his car in a very nice defensive position as they're about to enter Sector 3 now, and then the big long straight. This battle is raging on, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon, as these leaders are fighting away, and Broadstar has just made a mistake, and that puts Hudman on his rear end for the top 5 places, and that would give Red Bull a double top 5 and some decent points. But I'm going to move up to Kizzy, who's gaining on Sparks. The gap is 3.5 tenths now. He's not close enough to dive bomb it, I don't think, but he dummies it. As we now move down to Zonix versus Hudman versus Broadstar. Hudman sends it down the inside. He's nearly out of battery. This allows Scott Gaming to get involved, and he's now side by side with Broadstar because Hudman got the move done. They're side by side through the final corner. There's contact. Broadstar spun because of it. Spun across the line. Luckily, didn't get into anybody's way, and the DRS is now enabled, but that is calamity for Broadstar, and going side by side through the final corner was never going to work. But they tried to make it work, and that is the commitment these Div 2 drivers have to fighting. But if I'm honest, in these opening laps, is it really worth the scrap? Because now, a couple of these guys have lost a little bit of touch to the leaders. But further down the grid, Phoenix finds himself P8. Did not have the most productive opening few laps after quite a good qualifying. But Sparks in the Alfa Romeo, suffering an injury, by the way, still recovering from that injury from last week with broken ankle, running in P1, so that is some commitment to the cause right there. But he did just make a big mistake and lost a lot of time to Kizzy, so Kizzy will be all over the back of him now. But Zonix also, meanwhile, is all over the back of PS Bomber. So will Zonix find his way through down this straight if he can get a good exit? PS Bomber's just made a mistake, but Zonix hit a bump. It's given him a bit of a poor exit, but he matches the sort of exit PS Bomber got as we enter down the straight now. Zonix gaining and gaining and gaining. DRS now open on that Red Bull. He opens the slot gap in the rear wing. He's going to go down the inside. Gets the move done. Hudman has to stick behind. I thought Hudman might try also find his way through. Hudman brakes phenomenally late though. Tries to get underneath Bomber on the exit there. Got a good exit from it, but can't quite find his way through, just like his teammate, as Zonix in P3. So now the podium is Sparks, Kizzy, and Zonix. So they're looking quite comfortable right now. The Red Bulls might be 3-4 in a moment's time, and that would give them better points than the McLarens are receiving. As Hudman now just gets the throttle on mid-corner, because you can do that with such a wide corner. Gets the move done. PS Bomber tries to hold his nose in, but that's a move done for Hudman. And after a bit of an average qualifying session, the Red Bulls are now running 3 and 4. So they've had some great recovery in the opening 4 laps alone. And further down, Phoenix has had a bad start. Scott Gaming has had a pretty average start. Just kind of holding place. So we'll now move to the position chain. Scott Gaming up 1 place. Frosty up 5 already, and it's only lap 4. Then you have Broadstar after his spin down 6. Then you have Firestrike keeping even. Manson down 2. Spicy staying even. PS Bomber staying even. Hudman up 2. Zonix up 5. Kizzy down 1. And Sparks up 1. So obviously probably your biggest winner there is Zonix and Frosty. But I would say Zonix debatably, as all the leaders have swapped positions. So that is interesting for this race. I think maybe Sparks made a mistake. Kizzy will get the DRS's yellow flag in Sector 3. It's Phoenix who seems to have spun. But Kizzy with the DRS managing to stay alongside Sparks. Sparks dropping back. Will Sparks go back down the inside? No, he won't. Zonix, though, nearly getting involved there as we look to the rear wing. Oh, Hudman's overshot the corner by a country mile and has given himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. As now Sparks has the slot gap in his rear wing open, but Zonix still going to be aggressive here. The former teammates might have a bit of a scuff-up battle here now. Bit of bad blood between them potentially. And Sparks just trying to keep some alternate lines, not staying in that dirty air, and it's working. He actually finds himself underneath Kizzy and nearly going for a move, so we'll look to Kizzy's rear wing now as there's a bit of a top 3 train starting to form as Hudman moves up into P5 after his massive mistake at the hairpin. I don't understand where he thinks he's braking every lap there. He's overshot nearly every time. As Zonix still putting all the pressure behind Sparks, but Sparks now trying to put some pressure onto Kizzy in that dirty air. It's quite difficult to overtake it, China, at least until you get to the back straight. So it's Sparks' job to stay with him here so he doesn't lose out to Zonix on the straight. Meanwhile, Scott Gaming's now moved up into P4 because of Hudman's mistake, so he's now going to be up 2 positions. So he'll be pretty happy with that, as Kizzy braking nice and early there, but getting a better line through the corner. And now Sparks with the DRS wide open might try to go for a move here as we go off board with the 3 leaders here. Will we see Kizzy get double overtaken down this big long straight here in Shanghai? The DRS is now open on Sparks. He's gaining and gaining. He pulls to the inside now. Zonix tries to come through too. They're nearly 3 wide there. Zonix could have split the middle, but there probably would have been a crash. Kizzy on the outside, Zonix on the inside. Who's going to get the move done? They're going to go side by side into the final corner now. Kizzy will probably back out of it, let Zonix go, and he does, and that's a position change. Sparks moves up into the lead. Zonix up into P2 now. That'll move him up 6 places, and now he's going to go for a move into turn 1. He moves twice. He pulls to the inside. He sweeps into P1. So he's already gone up 7 positions now to get up into P1. And that is Zonix with a masterclass here on lap 6. He's already got the lead, but I don't see this battle ending anytime soon. If Kizzy can stay with them, this will continue to be a 3-way fight, but at least for the moment, it looks like it's almost going to form a 2-way fight, as Kizzy just sitting about 5 tenths behind, and the 2 former teammates are about to start dueling out on the track. And this will be some interesting fight to watch, I believe. So, through the left-hander, Sparks trying to stay with him now. This is looking so close between these 2 paces. They're all on the same tyre, probably the same strategy and the same fuel, but not the same setup. So let's see where the time is gained between these 2. Zonix looking like he'll probably be under a bit of pressure here as we enter the straight. He breaks really early through there, and Sparks manages to hold the same line as them. As now we enter the straight, from the helicopter cam you can just see the lines. Kizzy maybe struggling with a bit of front end, but now we look to Sparks' onboard. DRS now open as we go down the straight here. He's gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining. Will he go for a move on Zonix? I think he might be playing patient. Zonix defends the inside though. That'll allow Sparks to go for the old switcheroo here, even though Zonix didn't need to defend. And now Sparks finds himself on the outside as Zonix as they enter the final corner. Who's going to blink first and back out? Sparks does. He tries to get underneath Zonix, but gets caught on his rear wing, and that could have been an incident, but now Sparks will go for the turn 1 dive bomb, just like Zonix did. He pulls to the right hand side. He's going to sweep into turn 1 and sweep into the lead, but now Zonix puts up more of a fight than Sparks did. Sparks forces him truly a long way around, forcing him all the way to the right hand side of the white line of the circuit. Zonix holds himself on the inside though and holds the lead. Some stellar defense there from Zonix to keep the lead, but will Sparks go for it now into this corner like Ricardo did in 2018? No, he doesn't. He fancies going for a smarter move, and he stays behind temporarily, but down the straight I'm sure we'll see a position change on like last time. I swear I wish I had J-Man, guys. So anyway. Oh, Zonix plays DRS chicken, just pulls off to the side and lets Sparks go. So he plays some DRS chicken there, and that allows Sparks up into P1. Sparks probably won't be happy, but he didn't want to cause a massive incident and get Scott Gaming and the likes involved. As, oh no, Kizzy's lost it! And he falls off onto the track again, rolls away from it. Scott Gaming now moves up into P3. Kizzy's thrown it all away, but meanwhile the leaders are side by side. Sparks loses the lead. It's all thrown away for Kizzy on lap 7 here at this Grand Prix. I don't see a safety car being in this race with only 12 drivers around a track with basically no barriers. I don't think there'll be a safety car, so he's going to have to make this up on pure driving. But that is more than a 10-second difference between him and the leaders now, where he just was moments ago, so he's thrown it all away under the traction. Meanwhile, back to Frosty, though. Started in P12, he's now going to move up into P4, right around the outside of Hudman. And that is move done. Frosty makes a mistake, though, runs off onto the AstroTurf, hits the grass. He's now probably going to try and get underneath him, but he can't do it. And Frosty will be kicking himself, as he would have nearly been up 8 positions there. Meanwhile, though, Sparks and Zonix continue to fight with Scott Gaming right up behind them, just locking the rears. Oh my god. But yeah, now Scott Gaming trying to get involved. Not a driver I thought we'd be seeing fight for the win, but he is now fighting for the win. But we'll go off board with these leading 3. This battle just will continue to rage on. That's something we need to be looking out for lap after lap after lap, as there's a yellow flag. It's Manson spinning once again, just like on lap 1. And now Sparks will have the DRS. Zonix doesn't play any chicken this time, and Sparks will find himself in Zonix's DRS and try sail right past him again. So will he go for it? He's 5.5 tenths back. Zonix clearly running lower downforce. He's gaining a lot in a straight line now. Only Sparks, after he gets the DRS open, gains. And Zonic's straight line speed is absolutely criminal. as that gap barely closed with the DRS open, as Scott Gaming now all over the back of them. We'll move back to Kizzy though, who might look for a move on Spicy. He dummies the inside as Spicy just leaves the room thinking Kizzy was going to commit to it a bit more. And now that looks like Kizzy threw a Spicy, should back out of that, and he does back out of that. Kizzy moves into the top 7 once again as Zonix and Sparks are battling wheel to wheel. Sparks gets pushed a long way around now, and Scott Gaming has just got the popcorn and is watching from an outside view, sitting there saying thank you as, oh no, Sparks has spun it! And he reverses onto the track, oh my god. Nearly reversed right into Frosty as he's now down the order in P5. He's going to meet back up with his buddy who also spun Kizzy, and they're going to find themselves near each other on the track. So now the fight for the lead is between Scott Gaming and Zonix as the leaders are all crumbling. I accidentally skipped away for 1 second because I hit the wrong trigger. And now we've seen Spark spin around, so I hope that wasn't from any sort of contact. But we'll now move to Scott Gaming, who's inside Zonix's DRS range. Luckily, we'll go to Frosty for a brief moment. Will he go up the inside? No, he won't. I'm sure they'll swap down the straight though. As now Scott Gaming will go on board with him. Telemetry open as he's going to use his battery to close up to Zonix. And now DRS open. Will he be able to go for a move on Zonix? He's gaining, but he's not going to be close enough. So we'll now move to Frosty versus Hudman. They are about to battle. And Frosty is going to get the move done. And he does pull it off. Hudman tries to go for the old switcheroo. Can't get underneath him well enough though. And that is move done for Frosty until the straight at least, where they'll swap back around again. Meanwhile, Sparks very close up behind PS Bomber, so he'll look to move back up into the top 5 as Manson spun again. So Sparks, DRS wide open now on lap 10. The medium runners will be coming in probably in the next 5 laps. So this is crunch time now, as we'll actually look at the tyres. Everybody's on medium except for Manson Sim, so everybody will be pitting at roughly the same time as Sparks tries to sail right around the outside of PS Bomber though, make contact. Sparks getting into another sort of moment as Frosty now on the inside of Hudman as they head into turn 4, can't get anything done. And that's Frosty losing out. And Kizzy not finding his way anywhere, but Sparks still all over the back of Bomber, who is just parking the bus right now. So we'll move back to the leaders and their fight. So, Scott Gaming now in Zonix's DRS, gaining already before we get the DRS open, as he opens the DRS now. And he's gaining, not close enough to go for a move as Spark seemingly has spun like Kizzy did, and he has spun. And Calamity, Sparks' race going worse and worse as time goes on, as he'll be needing a safety car to get back in the game now, and he'll be very unhappy with himself. Scott Gaming just not close enough to go for a move on Zonix, so he can't pull anything off just yet. As Frosty on the outside looking for it, can't get anything done. So Frosty is still battling away with Hudman as Fire Strike moves up past Sparks. So Sparks just is coming to the pits just a little bit early for fresh tyres. He's going medium. That means he's committing to a 2-stop strategy when he could have probably gone hards till the end. So we'll move back to Frosty. So, Frosty moving up into P3. Sorry, I missed that. I just needed a second to drink some water. 12 laps straight of battling is not fun on the throat. So, Hudman and Frosty swap positions there. And Hudman now on the back of him, but him and Fire Strike are the only 2 with 3 second time penalties. There's basically no chances to get track limits here. Like, there's white lines, but those curbs kill you, so everybody knows not to go near them. So I'm surprised to see 2 people with track limits penalties. Hudman potentially struggling on his tyres, but Sparks is committed to a 2-stop strategy here, which I'm not sure will work. I just don't think he has the time to make it up. Especially with the Hards being able to go to the end, he could have played that better with his strategy. But I guess we'll have to see how it unfolds. So, Scott Gaming not close enough to go for a move, Hudman not close enough to go for a move, so right now your top 3 sitting Sonic, Scott Gaming and Frosty quite comfortably for the moment, as Hudman probably needs to charge his battery back up for sure. Oh, as Sonic's now into the lane for his pit stop, he'll be going hard till the end, I imagine, but we'll stay on board with him and see. So, into the pit lane, stops on the marks, gets the hard tyres on till the end now. So, everybody will be getting their pit stops done now or in the next 2 laps. So let's see if Scott Gaming can pull off an overcut. I don't think he can, though. The undercut is super powerful this game. So the overcut probably not the way to go, but we'll have to see. You have to save up a lot of battery if you want to pull this off, which Scott Gaming really hasn't done. So let's see how everybody's strategy goes here. Spark moving up into P10, P9, but he's on mediums again. When he started on mediums, he'll nearly take out Spicy there on the entry in. He gets the move done up into P8, but he's on mediums and he has to pit again. It's just not the right strategy call, I don't think. He's betting on a safety car that I don't think will come. So there's no super close battles on the track right now, so we'll just go to Sonics for now. So we'll see the 2 leaders come in now. Oh no, Scott Gaming stays out another one. Hudman's in though. Will he have jumped Frosty? I doubt it. Frosty coming through the final corner now. Hudman is going to get jumped by 2 people. He's going to get jumped by Kizzy too as he turns off the pit limiter. And the overcut has not worked. And I think that'll prove true for Scott Gaming too. We'll have to see. The gap is actually not... Scott Gaming isn't running horrible pace. So we'll now move to Kizzy versus Frosty. So this battle will probably rage on for the rest of the race here, the final 14 laps. Kizzy though, still out on mediums. So those are the same mediums he's been on the whole race. Now he's been on them 2 laps, he's going for the same strategy as Sparks. Which I again preface by saying I don't think it will work. But we'll have to see. Kizzy somehow struggling, or seeming to struggle to stay with Frosty, but with the DRS will hopefully sail by. So Kizzy gaining with the DRS now. He's in the slipstream. He's in that pocket of air, and he pulls to the right hand side. gets up the inside. Frosty pushed him all the way to the grass with 2 quite late moves, and Frosty's going to hold that outside and keep them positioned for now, but Kizzy will have the second bite of the cherry here of the DRS once more as we enter the main straight. Kizzy pulls to the outside now, and he's going to try sail right around the outside. Frosty on the inside though, carrying some awesome apex speed there and should be able to hold the position. Kizzy's trying to go right around the long way and now gets the inside position next corner. There's a bit of contact though. They bump tyres, they rub tyres, and Kizzy has a moment and has to back out of it there. As meanwhile Sparks moving up into P7 past PS Bomber. And wow, that was really close between English, sorry, brain not working. Kizzy and Frosty, they're just seemingly battling very hard, and Kizzy just lost it there, nearly made it end in disaster. Scott Gaming though has to come into the pits this lap. He's going to lose the position to Zonix either way. The gap is only 16 seconds in like a 23-second pit lane, but he doesn't want to lose that to Broadstar too. So, all the while, Kizzy, big moment there, nearly spun again, where he spun earlier in the race. 13 laps to go here. I'm not sure what this battle for the lead will be like, but 13 laps to China is a very long time, as I'm discovering. So, Kizzy up into P4 for the moment. That'll leave Frosty to battle him once more though. Frosty now pulls to the inside. Kizzy tries the long way around once more. Frosty sweeps into P1. Kizzy can't quite get underneath him there. Frosty taking a tight line in to make sure Kizzy can't get up the inside. And that is move done for Frosty as they swap positions around again. And I assume they will continue to do so in this Grand Prix. These two are very quick, very clean, and seemingly very similar pace despite the different compounded tyres. So Kizzy will be looking for some moves before he has to pit again, because he's pit twice with the same set of tyres, or same compounded tyres. So, Kizzy now, down the back straight, in the DRS, will probably swap positions with Frosty again. He's gaining. He pulls to the inside. Who will be the last on the brakes? Frosty brakes later. Kizzy gives him the squeeze. Kizzy now dives to the apex. They make a bit of contact. Frosty goes off the road. Frosty sails through. Kizzy knows he has to get that position up. But will Kizzy have the DRS? I think Frosty was behind in the detection zone. No, Kizzy does get that DRS, as now he gains, but he isn't close enough to go for it into turn 1. He might try duck underneath here, but he can't find that extra grip he needs. And Kizzy not quite able to get anything redone, so Frosty holding P4 for the moment. Sorry, I'm not commentating a lot, guys. I've been up since really early this morning. There's a safety car! I don't know what's caused it or how, because there's been no DNS, but there's a safety car. That saves Kizzy, and that saves Sparks. And with 11 laps to go, this shakes up the Grand Prix quite a substantial amount. This can change the strategy completely, and this also means that Scott Gaming's strategy of staying out has worked to a treat, and he'll stay out, and he'll come in this lap and hold the lead. So staying out and believing there'll be a safety car has worked a treat, as I think Firestrike must be the reason this came out, because Manson didn't come in, as if Firestrike's replacing his wing. No, who caused this? Phoenix spun and lost his wing somehow at a track with no barriers. So Phoenix has caused the safety car of dreams for these guys, as Scott Gaming is now in the lane. As long as he doesn't speed, gets in cleanly, doesn't get a penalty. He'll come out in P1. Zonic's rounding the final corner now, comes into the pit lane also. So Scott Gaming has played a strategy masterclass, but this also does still hurt Sparks and Kizzy in a way, because at the end of the day, they don't have another set of mediums, nor can they go to another set of mediums till the end. And Softs can't go 10 laps at China. And I believe Zonix will be in for a new set of mediums. Yeah, he was. So now Kizzy and Sparks will be off pace for the rest of the race, well, from tyres, tyre standpoint, which is quite big around this circuit. Kizzy goes hard, Sparks goes hard, everybody else seemingly going for... Oh, Scott Gaming's played aggressive, he's gone softs and he's going to try bridge the DRS gap and pull away from Zonix. Zonix on mediums, Broadstar on softs also. So people thinking they can get softs to go 10 laps at China is very bold. There's a lot of tyre wear around here. Frosty goes mediums, Kizzy obviously hards. Hardman mediums, Sparks hards. Spicy mediums, PS Bomber mediums. Yeah, that's mediums. Phoenix probably mediums. Yeah. Manson stayed out, he's on mediums. Flashback also mediums. The mediums are the optimal tyre to go to. With this many laps to go, the softs will die. So, with the safety car being out, this closes everyone up. Sparks and Kizzy, notably after their spins, have been given a second chance. A blessing from Phoenix's mistake. And they'll be quite happy with that, but they've got to make a good job of it. And being on the hards, it makes their job a little bit harder. And we'll have to see, and hopefully they don't spin again and throw it away twice in one race. Obviously Sparks did spin twice when he was still in a good position. But we'll have to see how this race unfolds as... I'll be back in a second, guys. Sorry, I need to grab fresh water. Alright, I'm back. And safety car is in this lap. So, that allows Scott Gaming to take control of the field once more. With Zonix behind him, biting at his heels in P2. This will be anyone's race. My bet's on Zonix. I seriously don't think Sparks can get through. I don't think Kizzy just doesn't. He was struggling, even though he was leading and fighting that top three. He was mainly relying on that DRS. And being on the hard tyres, I don't think he'll have the pace. Scott Gaming might put up a fight here, but his softs definitely will go off. But we'll see how he takes this restart and how he pulls away, as we're going to have an 8-lap shootout till the end now. He's going to need 8 qualifying laps on a set of dying softs as we get underway here. Sim is retired from the session, but the safety car is in. And we're going again in this Grand Prix. Zonix goes to the inside. He's on the inside of turn 1. He's all over the curb. Scott Gaming tries to go the long way round, and that'll become the inside down the hill. Zonix, though, gets the move done, closes the door. He moves up into the lead already. Sparks moves up into P6 already. That's P5 after penalties. So we'll have to keep an eye on that track limits penalty Hudman has. Meanwhile, though, Broadstar in P3, looking back here and just looking at the two leaders going at it, thinking, where can I pick my poison and get involved here, as the Williams driver Scott Gaming, even though he's on soft that are only 2 laps old, already struggling to keep up with Zonix. He nearly pulled a masterclass strategy. If he had a set of mediums, this might be a bit more believable for him to still fight this, but let's see on those softs how long he can stay with Zonix for, because right now Zonix looks in a lane of his own, and we won't have the DRS enabled until lap 23 of this Grand Prix, with only 5 laps to go, so this could be a super close finish here. But let's move down the order here. Frosty might try to go for a move on Broadstar here. As he gets the battery on, he's going to try be in that slipstream and gain. And he is gaining. All the while, he's gaining a lot. And, oh, he dives the inside late. And he doesn't get it done. There was a nearly contact there, but he can't quite get it done. He runs off the track there. That'll be a track limits warning. Zonix 34.0, fastest lap of the race. Hudman 34.0, fastest lap of the race. I swear that was the same exact lap time. Anyway, 5 strike swapping positions with Spicy, but that's because Spicy is in the pit lane for some reason. Kizzy also in the pit lane, but I think Kizzy has a drive-through. No, PS Bomber has a drive-through, not Kizzy. Why is Kizzy in? Kizzy has made contact with Spicy, clearly needs a new front wing, so that's the nail in the coffin for Kizzy's race, effectively. PS Bomber will come in and serve his drive-through soon. If he comes in this lap. But we'll move to Scott Gaming now, who's still sticking with Zonix, but those softs surely go off in the next 3 or 4 laps. And this is going to be really close. It's the same with Broadstar versus Frosty. Frosty's on medium, Broadstar's on softs. I can't help but think the mediums can barely go 14 laps, and they normally only go 10 or 11. I don't get how they've expected softs to go 2 laps on the safety car and 8 laps of pushing on a restart with a low fuel. It's going to be insanely close here, but all the while Scott Gaming is quite close behind Zonix. He goes outside, he might get underneath Zonix here, but he can't quite get it into the apex. Zonix just turning in super late, forcing Scott all the way around the outside. Frosty, P4, just relaxing a little bit, just sitting behind Broadstar, knowing that time will come, as the DRS is already enabled on lap 22. So I thought it was supposed to get him enabled next lap, but it's already enabled as we trundle through turn 1. This is where this race changes, because the DRS being enabled allows for the overtaking to begin between this top 4, as now this is the 6 lap sprint till the end, because the first 2 laps were only pretty much you got it done in the first sector of the restart. Other than that, you're going to have to sit behind. But now, Scott Gaming definitely has a chance of getting the lead, and even when his tyres go off, as long as he can stay within a second, might still be in this till the end. And this is going to be an interesting watch till the end. Scott Gaming clearly having more grip to get across earlier and getting the better exits, and now he'll have DRS. No, Zonix plays chicken again and sits behind, gets the DRS because the detection zone is in a really bad spot. Me personally, I think it should be that mid-corner there, because then DRS chicken can't be played. But Zonix plus played the DRS chicken, gives Scott Gaming the lead. Scott Gaming goes off the track, and Zonix picks up the DRS, opens it up, and sails by. Broadstar can't quite get close enough to go for a move, and Frosty can't go for a move on Broadstar. And this top 4 is super close, and this is going to be a nail-biting finish to this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, though, Sparks has dropped from Hudman 2.6 seconds. Does Sparks have damage? Because Sparks was one of the fastest guys on the track in the first stint, and now he's struggling to keep up with Hudman. I'm unsure. But we'll move back up to the top 4 as they're nose to tail all the way through between each other. Let's just look at that train that's beginning to form as they dip down the hill back across. And Scott Gaming clearly still has more grip. I don't know how long that'll last. They'll probably get into a crossover about next lap or the lap after on those tyres, and then Zonix will be better for the rest of the laps, at least with the tyres, not about pure pace, as Scott Gaming locks up a little bit there on the front tyres and loses a little bit of time to Zonix, but he'll probably gain it back through this flat out left. 7th gear, just stick to the road. Kizzy 33.8. And now get across. Scott just trying to stay with Zonix. Zonix can't play chicken from here, it's too far. As meanwhile, Frosty just all over the back of Rodstar. These two, I think, is the closer battle between the top 4. These two are kind of just battling it out for that last podium position, and I think for Frosty it means a lot more than what it might mean for Scott Gaming. But we'll go to Frosty, who pulls alongside before we even get into the DRS. He opens up the DRS. He can't even stay alongside with the DRS. But now Frosty will brake later, go down the inside. Can he pull the move off? They bang wheels, they touch just a little bit. Rodstar stays in the track but gets a little bit of a squeeze, and that allows Frosty up into P3 for the moment. But Rodstar will be looking for another move at him as we enter the straight. Rodstar, DRS, gaining. He goes outside. He chooses the outside. He sails around the outside. He's going to get the squeeze from Frosty. Can he get through? No, he can't. And this is going to be the most nail-biting finish to a podium I think I've seen, except for maybe Singapore. So, 4 laps to go. It's still anyone's game in this top 4. Hudman lingering in the background, has that 3 second though. So I don't think he'll be making any inroads, but he's pulled 3 seconds to Sparks, so Sparks' pace has dropped off a cliff astronomically. But we'll move to Scott Gaming and Zonix. These two are the battle for the win. So the tyres will probably be on a crossover now. Zonix and Scott Gaming's tyres will be identical on pace for the rest of this lap, and then Zonix's tyres will tip in his favour. So the DRS is going to be really needed here from Scott Gaming if he wants to try still win this Grand Prix. But as we enter the DRS zone, Scott Gaming still has DRS, but will it be enough to go for a move? He's 7 tenths back as they enter the DRS zone. He's gaining, but he gains 3 tenths and no more. Actually, he gains 4 tenths. Can't pull anything off, nor can Broadstar and Frosty. So the DRS not doing enough. You need a Vegas length straight to make any sort of inroads, it seems, because 4 tenths in the second longest straight on the Formula 1 calendar, not enough, seemingly, for these guys. So the wing disparities between these guys' setups in the top 4, it looks like we have 2 high downforce guys and 2 low downforce guys. So this is a blockbuster finish here in the Chinese Grand Prix. Scott Gaming 4 tenths behind. Will be dropping back more and more as time goes on. He's going to have to use a little bit of battery, as we're going to get the telemetry up. 32% in his car. Scott has 25. Frosty has 11. Broadstar has 6. So these top 4 guys are not messing around when it comes to this result in this Grand Prix, as we're going to enter into Sector 3 soon. So, Scott Gaming is in the DRS of Zonix. This is closer than he was last lap. He's only 3 tenths behind with the slipstream. DRS, no DRS usage to play around with though. He's gaining. He tries to go outside. It's a virtual safety car! Phoenix retires from the race. Where is he retired? I don't get it. I don't understand. It just looks like he retired. He did just retire on the track. He's on the straight. So this throws a spanner in the works for Scott Gaming. If he gets a bad restart here, that could change the dynamic of this Grand Prix and this battle. So 2 laps till the end, and this neutralizes it. Scott was probably going to try dive all the way around the outside. Kizzy gets a drive through, but he's down the back. So nobody in the top 4 has been affected, and Scott is actually closer than he was before. So we enter Sector 2 and the end of it nonetheless. And the battle is still on, as we're going to enter lap 27 after this. But we still have the rest of 26 to go. So, can Scott Gaming get any move done this lap? Will Zonix try play chicken here? Will he do his typical pull to the left-hand side? No, he won't. So, this is a pure fight in the DRS. Scott needs to get a good exit here if he wants to get a win in Tier 2. Oh, he gets a bad exit. He'll have the DRS to save him, but this is still going to make it harder on him. He's 7 tenths back. He's using a little bit of battery. You don't want to drop below 10 though, or you lose a significant amount in a straight line. He's dropped below 10. So, DRS open. Gaining just a little bit. Tops at 328. And he's now 5 tenths behind. Zonix runs deep though, but he'll get a good launch off the exit as Kizzy comes into the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty. Scott struggling to stay with him now. Broadstar though, let's see, will he go for a move into turn 1 on Frosty? These two have been scrapping it out, but just not changing any sort of position. The VSC seemingly changed it up just a little bit as the softs get fired up on temperature just a little bit quicker. That's why the soft tire runners were still on the back of those mediums, even though their softs will be coming to the end of their lives now. So let's turn the leaderboard off. Let's turn all of it off. Let's just leave the track map up as we see the final stages of this Grand Prix. There's 1 lap after this, and Scott Gaming has to make it count if he wants anything to work here in this Grand Prix. So, Zonix not playing any DRS chicken. What will be the gap coming onto the straight? It's going to be 7 tenths, and if Scott gets another bad exit, that could be the end of his this charge that he's had. As we'll go to positions gained, he's up 5, Zonix is up 7. Zonix started down in P8. If he can pull off this win, it'd be mighty impressive. But here we go, Scott Gaming enters the straight. Gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining, but it's not going to be enough this lap. So we have 1 lap to decide this race win now. 1 lap to go as we round the penultimate lap, and we're about to round the penultimate corner of the penultimate lap. This is truly the fight now that you have to be watching. Scott Gaming opens up the DRS as we enter lap 27. Well, no, sorry, we enter the final lap of this Grand Prix. There's nothing between them. My controller's just disconnected at the worst time ever. Scott Gaming heading through turn 1. 3.5 tenths is the gap. Scott really needs to get a good run through these first 2 sectors, but his soft tyres won't be sticking with him. I think they've run out of life at the cutoff. I think that Scott Gaming won't have it in him, but we'll have to see with a final charge here into Sector 2 now. Through the right-hander, Scott just getting a good run. Zonix lost a little bit of time there, but gained on the exit because of the tyre life on those softs. Flat out through this left, these cars are on the lowest fuel they possibly can be at this moment in time. Scott Gaming will be pushing and wringing the neck out of that Williams, still getting across more than Zonix, but doesn't have the tyre life. You can see through the exit, he's lost a tenth just in the exit alone. This is hurting Scott. 7 tenths as they enter the part where it matters. This is the straight for the win. What's going to happen? Will Scott Gaming send a dive bomb? 6.5 tenths the gap on the straight, but you can see Scott had to back out of throttle there. The car got a bit light underneath him. Zonix using all of the battery left at his disposal as Scott opens the DRS. He's gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It isn't going to be enough. And unless Zonix throws it all away now, at the death of it, Zonix, he rounds the final hairpin, and he rounds the final corner, and he's gonna round it, and win in the Tier 2 Chinese Grand Prix. It looked in doubt there for a minute, but he wins it. Scott Gaming comes home P2, Frosty P3, Broadstar P4, Hudman P5, no, P6, Sparks P5 after his spins, Firestrike is gonna come home in P7 And then you're going to have Spicy in P5, Kizzy P9, the McLaren's P9 and 10 after it looked like they might have even had a double top 5 at one point or another. So Firestrike rounds the final corner. And he's going to come home P7, some decent points for him. Aston Martin double points finish. Spicy crosses the line, takes the flag, P8. Kizzy still going down the straight, but that is your finishing order now. Zonix at the last breath of it, just about taking home this action-packed race in P1. Scott Gaming P2, Frosty P3, Broadstar P4, Sparks P5, Hudman P6, Firestrike P7, Spicy P8, Not Kizzy P9, PS Bomber P10, and then Phoenix and Manson DNF. That is your final results in this Grand Prix. And my oh my, what a result it was. So we've just got to wait for Kizzy to find the flag. He takes the flag now to round your Tier 2 Grand Prix. So, Zonic takes home P1 and we'll get your guys in for an interview in a moment. So, just gotta wait for everyone to advance so I can get into the little menu. We'll just get in and try to conduct the interviews now while we get set up. So, alrighty, just waiting on Scott. Okay, so we'll start with P3. Frosty, mate. Picking up the P3. It looked like Broadstar was going to take it, but it looks like he just ran out of tyres at the end. What were your thoughts with that race? Quite an impressive result for you.
I mean, it was pretty good considering that I started 12th and, like, you know, I was last. And then it was pretty good. I had, like, Kizzy licking my ass a fair bit at one point. But yeah, the strategy was good because we all undercut, so we were chilling. And then we had the safety car, so we could all box to mediums. And then I barely avoided wing damage because I don't know if it was deliberate, but big man Scott slowed down a bit. And then we all rear-ended each other. I didn't hit the guy in front of me, but then because everyone else just hit behind me, and then it's like a train, we all just bashed into each other, which caused the death of some other dude. But yeah, at the end we were Broadstar tires just died, and I got third.
Yeah, I don't think the slots were the best option, but mate, last to P3 with a qualifying ban, got to be pretty happy with that. So GG's with that one.
Thank you.
All right.
Love you, Lindsay.
Yep. Alrighty, so, well now, I don't think Scott's in here, so we will move to our...
I am here. Here.
Oh, you are here. Okay, cool. Alright, so, Scott, P2, mate, you picked that up. It looked like you might have gotten the win, but just soft tyres weren't the right option. They just fell away from you at the end there, and you just didn't quite have it. What were your thoughts with that race?
I think I want to thank Sonix first of all. He put me in the DRS range, and I just wanted to stay in this DRS. I mean, it will be good for a second race in F1 23 to get a win, but is what I can do for now. And I think that Rebel was just amazing on the exits and the straights.
Yep, so just the tyre where management was Zonix. So, was there anything you think you could have done better in that race, or are you just happy to take home that P2?
I think that was the best I can do. But especially tire management, the strategy was good. I was waiting for a safety car and a low fuel. So, and when the safety car came out, I just, saved the fuel and the tires, which was great.
Yep, alright, well, good result, mate. We'll now move on to
Thank you.
Zonix. P1, mate. You've got to feel pretty happy with that. Great result.
Yeah, I mean, pretty happy with the P1.
Was there any doubt there with Scott at the end, or even with Sparks earlier on in the race, or?
I mean, after qualifying P8, I mean, I kind of stuffed my quali. I didn't make it to the line in time. So, I didn't think I was going to get the win, but I'm happy I did. And with Sparks, I didn't really fight him for that long. I think I just got past him. I made a move around the outside in the at turn 1, and then he got spun or he binned it. I don't know what happened to him, but then I didn't really see him for the rest of the race.
Yeah. So how do you think that helps you with the championship?
I mean, that does help me a lot. I had a pretty bad race last week out. I got killed a couple times and only got P9. So Kizzy down in 9th, I think, wherever he came, and Sparks P5 definitely helps me get back in the championship fight.
Yeah, obviously we don't know for sure because I don't actually know how to work the standing spreadsheet. I was never got taught by Ryan, and only Geordie knows how to work it and use it. So we didn't get the standings this week because he didn't get around to it. But I guess we'll see after all the reports are said and done for this week. So congratulations on your P1, mate. Hopefully we can be saying the same next weekend. But until then, thank you guys for your interviews, and that'll be it for Tier 2 ORL tonight. Well, this afternoon. Tier 1 soon, and I'm not sure who will be on the comms box. Maybe Sparks, we'll have to see, but it will be Austria for the Tier 1 boys. And make sure to tune in, but that is all for your Tier 2 running. Goodbye.